The U.S. backed regime change attempt continues. They've cut out power. They have crippling sanctions on Venezuela. They've put in, or not put in place, but declared a politician, a little-known politician, as the new president of Venezuela. Talk about what you found in your trip.
Well, what we found was a nation under siege. The delegation landed in Caracas right in the middle of the first cyber attack on that nation. We landed in darkness. The airport was without power. We got into the city and we saw the consequence of the attack on the civilian electrical grid, where people had to line up to get water because without electric, you can't pump water. Mm-hmm. We saw that people were carrying elders up the stairs to the upper stories of apartment buildings. We saw the consequence of an illegal and immoral attack on the civilian population. What we also saw, though, Lee, was people who were committed to protecting and defending their process. I really believe that that attack on Venezuela, instead of having the effect of galvanizing popular support or popular opposition to the government, in fact, had the opposite effect. That even people who may not have been that keen on the Maduro government felt that their country was under siege. Yeah. And so it evoked more nationalistic sort of instincts. So you have that attack, you have this creation of this puppet Juan Guaido, and you have Juan Guaido inviting foreign intervention, Juan Guaido praising the cyber attacks in essence, Juan Guaido who appears to be more committed to the U.S. Than his own nation. So they have created for themselves, meaning the U.S., a real dilemma because they have not been able to affect regime change as they thought they would have in that country.
Yeah, and Juan Guaido was even trained over here and under the IMF as well. I talked with Greg Palast, investigative journalist Greg Palast, about, he talked about the race implications of this, that it is kind of a white supremacist coup because, for lack of a better term, because the people surrounding Guaido and the people who are trying to bring down the Maduro government are largely whiter skinned, and the people that support the indigenous and the Maduro government are largely darker skinned.
Exactly. I mean, the Venezuelan oligarchy is primarily the Creole class, the white class that have been in place from the very beginning of that republic. And the base of support for Maduro and for the Bolivarian process are people of color and primarily black people or African people. We had a chance to meet with various communities and we were told in no uncertain terms that the people they want peace, and we should take that message back to the U.S. population. But they also said they were prepared for war also, because they don't want to go back to how things were before the revolution. Mm-hmm. One community, for example, was a community that wasn't on the map. It's in West Caracas, 1.5 million people, brown people, black people, who didn't have water, didn't have any kind of services because they didn't exist before the revolution. Now they exist, now they are a core element of that revolutionary process, and they don't want to go back to how things were before. So they're prepared to resist and the struggle for their progress. So, this is the reality, that basically you have a minority oligarch that's attempting to try to reverse the significant progress that's been made in our country that has impacted in a positive way people of color.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the poverty cut by 50%, extreme poverty by 70%. It's been a real change over the past few decades.